So I'm back with George Kavassilas. So thank you, George. Welcome back to Exonews TV.
Thanks, Michael. It's been really good fun. Yeah.
Great. Well, in the last section, we were just getting into the control system. So maybe now you can tell us a little bit about the whole moon matrix connection, the moon-Saturn connection, sorry, and how that kind of applies to this control grid over the planet Earth. And of course, the similarity with David Icke is interesting here. So maybe if you just elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, no worries at all. Didn't read his book, by the way. And I was told that he'd come out with something similar, I think it was around the same time. Yeah, I wrote mine in 2011 and published it in 2012, if that helps at all. So what I learned about Saturn is it's the planetary incarnation of the God entity in the God of religions. When I mean the God entity, I mean God. So once we understand that, there's God, and then there's the natural creator of this universe. And then there's the infinite nature of life, where there is no creator of it, because it always has been and always will be. It's infinite. There's no beginning or end to it. But there's a universal creation that we're inside of, and there is the creator, this universe, and many other universes, right? And then inside this universe is this entity called God, who claims a great number of, many incredible things, incredible claims. Once we can go back to that memory of what is real, because that's what it is, then all of the imposition on the human race will be exposed. It'll just become clear, absolutely clear. And there seems to be like this glass ceiling, I call it the glass ceiling of the cosmic matrix, that people are butting their heads up against. And a lot of it has to do with the New Age, and we've got the chakra, kundalini, pineal thing going on in the New Age community. And it's about understanding how the chakras are actually connected to the rings of Saturn. Well, what we've got is the A ring, the B ring, the C ring, the D, E, F and G ring, right? And because the God entity is trying to take over the solar system and has for a very, very long time, it wants to be the the almighty, powerful, crowning glory entity. But the sun is the prime creator of the solar system. The solar system exists because of the sun. Without the sun, the solar system doesn't exist. This reality doesn't exist. And so the influence that Saturn or this God entity is trying to have over the solar systems by broadcasting signals out through the rings and toning the solar system and trying to calibrate life, and especially Earth. Like, its main target is Earth, because of the fractal nature. So Earth is the fractal of the solar system, which is the fractal of the galaxy, which is the fractal of the universe. So the Earth is a fractal of the universe, and we are fractals of the universe. And it's kind of like Wag the Dog. There was a danger in creating this reality and creating the human race from the beginning. I remember, because I was a part of that. There was a danger to it. And I'm not the only one, by the way. There's lots of people incarnate on Earth at this time who also remember all their responsibilities and obligations according to that, in relation to that. But that's okay. The dark side was always going to get a piece of the pie, so to speak. And that's okay, because that helps with the evolution of the universe. So nothing is going on here without being sanctioned by the creator of this universe at all. Nothing happens at all without it being a co-creative process. even all of my negative things that I experienced is because the perpetrators were role-playing for me because I contracted them to come and do this to me. So you need to understand the dynamics of realities prior to incarnating, and then how reality, and it all plays out. We'll role-play for one another. So Saturn is providing us with a service. The God entity is providing us with a service. And it sends out these signals which then connect to the chakra system. And the chakra system is an implant. It's not, these portals of access are not natural. In all of my experiences that I used to go to other dimensions on the earth and other worlds, I would be in bodies without this chakra thing going on, and I would feel in complete unity. Then I'd come back into this body, and when I used to have chakras, because I don't anymore, I would experience that fragmentation and that compartmentalization and all that manipulation going on through them. And they became a very big hindrance to me. And then that's when I went through the experience of transcending them. And one of the things I help people to do is transcend the chakra system so they can get just back to their unity, just their authentic self, beyond this imposition and all the belief systems that go with it.
So with
and sorry, just to continue on with that. What Saturn is trying to do is by infusing this overlay, this implant called the chakra system, which is a piece of technology that's being used as an implant in conjunction with spiritual ideology to calibrate people in particular vibrational fields of reality in the universe. So what it's doing is it's intercepting our ability to experience the natural light spectrum of the sun.
Well, just maybe there's a few things in there that maybe we need to kind of like look a little at closely. Firstly, the God entity or Saturn. I mean, is that information you got like from the Akashic records?
No.
How did you get that information? I mean, how do you know that Saturn is playing this role of being a kind of pretender God, if you like?
Well, anybody can get that in their unity with the sun and the solar system. It is what is happening and what has happened in our solar system. So the sun is where you get that from. Everybody's in a deep relationship with the solar system, with the sun. You are incarnate inside its body. Yeah. So that love, that unity, in there is that information, in the unity. So
is that how is that different to the Akashic record?
The Akashic record is a reality where beings monitor. It's like a room, you could say, or it's a vibrational field of reality where beings monitor the information. They look after it. It's got librarians. It's got, you know what I mean? It's got people who look after that bank of knowledge. That's a library. It's not the prime creator of a reality. It's a totally different construct. Separate from the natural order.
There's this idea of Saturn being this kind of God entity, pretender God. Is that tied in with the notion of the Saturn Council? A lot of people talk about being taken to the Saturn Council, where they meet this council comprising different entities. Whether they're extraterrestrials, whether they're masters, Elohim, ascended beings.
Yes, to all of that.
So how is that different?
Everything to do with angels, ascended masters, is all part of the God matrix. Yeah, it's the angelic realms and the ascended master realms and all the New Age luminaries, all that enlightened stuff is all the God matrix, not the natural order of life. And it's all about raising vibration. It's all a hierarchical construct, and the higher you raise your vibration, it's like working your way up in a ladder in a club or a corporate or a whatever. and the higher up you get, so the higher your vibrational field within those realities, then apparently the better the person you are, and then the more superior you are, and all that nonsense, right? Which is got nothing to do with the natural order of life, which is all about love, honour and respect to all life, and everybody are totally on the level with all their experiences, and you know, and this beautiful, rich alchemical process of life in this universe. That's the natural order, and then you've got this whole hierarchical thing going on, which is headed by this God entity, which is androgynous in its nature, and it's a pure ego construct, and its ecosystem is consciousness, and that's why everyone must pursue consciousness at the moment and meditate and get that kundalini up your spine so you can go up the 33 vertebrae and become a 33rd degree Freemason and hit that eye of God, which is called the pineal gland, which is your third eye in Eastern religions, and get that spirit fire, which is the kundalini. So it's the same program that the occults use and the ruling elite use, and now they're marketing it in the public domain as something fantastic because they're getting you to revere and venerate and be in awe of this God entity that wants to imprison you into these realities that it's constructed to imprison the human race, so you can continue to worship it and therefore be its resource for empowerment, right? People need to understand the reality and the magnitude of what's going on here, Michael. This is full on, mate. This is as big as it gets. We are a fractal of the entire universe. You know, the attention of the universe is on Earth at the moment because of who we are and what we're achieving here. And if you look at the narratives that are being thrown around, now, you know, we're stepping into the cosmopolitical agenda now. This is cosmopolitics. This is a campaign, a political campaign. And let's look at them. You've got God. You're a bunch of lowly sinners, and you must pray so you can get to heaven. Right? The New Age religion. You're at the bottom of the universe, and you must raise your vibration to ascend to, well, fifth dimension or whatever they want to call it, right? High-end mind-bending philosophies from Eastern philosophical masters, right? This is all just in a dream. It's just an illusion. This reality is not real. Yeah? What's another one? These are some of the latest ones. It's a flat Earth with a firmament. Classic. That's just a recycling of the days of the Inquisition, right? And I can't believe how many people are falling for that. And that's a really strong mind virus at the moment. It is a mind virus infecting people's minds.
So is that kind of like an example, like the flat Earth theory? Is that an example of the kind of manipulative mind control that is being that is emanating out of Saturn, you know, out of the control system that exists there? And of course, you mentioned the Moon Saturn matrix. So how does the Moon figure into this kind of relationship?
I'll just finish this narrative, and then we'll go to that. So we've got, and now we've got this reality is nothing more than a hologram, yeah, or a computer simulation. Is the latest ones, right? So you can see the people that have been infected by the mind virus of AI, because now they're seeing, they're so integrated with AI, all they see is a computer simulation. So they see through the eyes of the entity there, and people who are integrated with the God entity, you know, because that religious dogma, that program, they'll see the flat Earth thing. It's all they can't see anything else, because now they've put those lenses on, those glasses on, and they see everything through those lenses. But all of those narratives, all of them, they're all designed to do the same thing. So remember, this is a cosmopolitical agenda with many angles to it, yeah? But they're all achieving exactly the same thing, Michael. And that is to diminish Earth and her humanity, and to sever the human race from the true essence of what Mother Earth is really all about. That's what these are designed to do. Every single one of them, same agenda. So this is a very real issue we've got on our planet right now, and so many people are falling for it. You know, all you need to do is just go spend time in nature, go sit with an elder from an indigenous tribe. Just go out, lay on the beach at night and look at the stars. You can see it's not a firmament. I mean, seriously, like, I don't know the last time those guys looked out a telescope. Anyway. I understand mind control is really powerful, so I get it, because I used to be in that space myself in the early days of the Galactic Federation of Light, and now that's morphed into something else. I'll talk about that later. So I've been through all that, and I understand the energetic patterns involved, I understand the techniques, I understand how they mess with people's minds. I can see all our society out there, how it's being mind controlled. We're in a very serious issue of global mind control, and this is where it all links back to the moon matrix, because Saturn matrix is linked in on a much deeper level and links into the chakras, the kundalini, the pineal gland, but the moon matrix is all about the mind, and it's all about the dualistic system, the system of duality that we have here. So the moon is the instrument that is actually the mechanical device that is creating the level of duality we're experiencing. You know, it's nice to sit with an elder from, like, a proper elder, you know, because there's all different kinds of elders out there. But, an Aborigine elder or Indigenous elder from, really well connected to the land. Not a fancy one, not a commercially famous one or something like that. Just a real natural elder of the old ways. And they'll tell you about it, many moons ago, they'll say to you this, and then they'll start the story of what happened many moons ago. But just in that statement, what did that being mean? It didn't mean moon cycles. Many moons ago. This planet has had many moons through different eras, through different epochs of time. Even in the Vedas it talks about the 3 cities orbiting the Earth. That was when the Earth had 3 moons at that time. So the geological records show that there was times when there was no moons here. Right? The Bible, it talks about the time before the moon. So the moon is this moon we have now is a recent addition. I don't know the exact time frame. That I don't have access to that. I don't know why, but I'd like to. Yeah. But I know that it was placed here from Mars. And prior to Mars, it was lost in the war for the takeover of the solar system. So the moon was originally built in the Pleiades. The life force, the essence that built it, came from the star known as Maya in the Pleiades system. And it was a beautiful planetoid. It was forests and seas and mountain ranges and rivers. It was gorgeous. And it was like a laboratory that used to go around seeding life. And you would think that that's more of a masculine trait, but it actually had a feminine essence to it. And it was used to seed a lot of the flora and the fauna here on the planet. That's the strong connection the Pleiadians have. And you'll notice a lot of the Pleiadians are the ones that are more inclined to be more vegetarian and vegan style of lifestyle. Is because of their connection to the natural environment. I won't go there. So it's when the takeover of the planet, the solar system happened, the moon was brought here to defend the Earth, and unfortunately was lost in that battle. And we also lost that planet between Mars and Jupiter.
So when you say it was lost in that battle, do you mean that the moon was taken over, certain beings came in and just kind of took over whatever facilities were there?
They didn't want to destroy it. because they knew it played a big role. It played more of a role of seeding life here on Earth than any other planetoid or moon. Whatever you want. It's a planetoid. It's a spacecraft. And knowing that is, it's not a mechanical physical thing. It's now the essence of the moon has a connection to the essence of the Earth and has a connection. So by apprehending the moon means, and putting it around the Earth in the orbit that they did, is now they have the device that can dig deeper into this reality than anything else can. So they can study the dynamic of the energetic exchange between the Earth and the moon. So, and they can track the energies between the two and then go deeper into the Earth, the reality of how the Earth is built. You need to understand how cosmic conquerors think. Yeah?
Cosmic
conquerors.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. The art of cosmic conquering. Yeah. You don't take over reality just by putting forces on the ground. That's as old school as it gets, and you always get a revolt, and it never works in the long term. No, they don't do that. What they do, and the gods learnt this a long time ago, and the head honcho of that mafia group called the gods, which is the god of gods, which is the god of father god and mother god of our religions, which is, like I said, that androgynous ego construct in consciousness. That's all it is. It's just this pure egoic energy, which I've been talking about for years, and recently just came out in Guardians of the Galaxy. So if someone's listening. You dig deep into a reality if you're a cosmic conqueror, and you go deeper and you go deeper and you go deeper and you deeper, and you control the reality from the bottom up. It's not about ruling from the top down. It's digging into the fabric of a reality. If you want to control the human Earth, the humans on Earth, you've got to understand what this reality is. And they go, okay, so this is a feminine planet. Oh, so what do? They do this to the feminine. Right? Control the feminine, control humanity.
Well, as far as the moon is concerned, was it placed here because one of its functions was to influence, say, the females in terms of the menstrual cycle?
It was plugged in exactly. The cycles. You see, prior to the moon being here, the menstrual cycle was euphoric, and it was synced in with the 28-day rotation of the sun. And it was about the creation of life, and it was a euphoric experience for women. Yeah, and prior to that, so you go now. That's the era before the moon, or the epoch before the moon. Now you go to the epoch before even that level of connection, and menstruation only occurred when reproduction was desired. Okay, so you have these different stages. And so the moon was specifically designed, the orbit is specifically designed to plug into the menstrual cycle of woman. And because we're 70% water or thereabouts, the moon is pulling on the ocean. You know, it has this magnetic and gravitational effect on the water. And so it's pulling the emotional body also of woman constantly. Like what you, Michael, and I experience of this reality is something so vastly different from what every woman experiences. We have a completely different, as men, a completely different experience of this reality compared to women. And we really need to respect what they're going through every moment of every day, because what would you be like if your emotional body was being pulled from one side to the other constantly?
Well, you've already mentioned the chakra system, the Kundalini system, as all being part of this kind of control system that was put in place. And you mentioned the pineal gland as kind of like the kingmaker of that control system. So can you just kind of elaborate how that happened? I mean, how this kind of chakra system became a means of kind of like oppressing humanity rather than being an instrument of liberating humanity, which is what many people assume. So this is
Oh,
quite
I definitely
controversial.
assume that. I mean, that's been sold to humanity as the answer, right? Of accessing universal knowledge. Of course it's sold as that. Someone put out a slide on the internet, and it had a picture of E.D. Wallace or something, who's an Egyptologist from late 1800s or early 1900s or something. And he has this quote, and they got a picture of him and a quote saying, the eye of Horus, or the pineal gland, is the seat of the soul. And then next to him they've got a picture of me saying the pineal gland is a biological implant, and then they've got the elongated nose as Pinocchio. So insinuating that I'm lying and he's right. And I find these sorts of things fascinating because the question those people are not asking is, okay, so if people want to believe that their soul resides in their head, by all means, that's up to you. If that's the ecosystem of your soul is mind, it's all yours. Go right ahead. Take that journey through this universe. I did that a long time ago. That's why I'm here speaking in the manner in which I'm doing now, because I've travelled through those realities in the universe, venerated all these gods, worshipped them, did all that stuff, just like so many other people in the world today. And we're all back here going, hey, guess what? It's not peaches and roses like you think it is. It's something very, very different. No, my soul resides in my heart, in my place of unity. That's where my soul does not reside in the head. This is about mind enlightenment. I'm interested in the enlightenment of my entire being, not just my egoic mind construct. Because sure, we've all got this earthly ego personality. Mine's George, yours is Michael, and it's the personality interface we use for communicating with one another in this reality. And then we've got every extraterrestrial has an ego construct. Now, it's funny how a lot of people go, oh, there's only Earth humans have egos. Can you believe that statement? Really? And that's just so typical of the New Age religion and its and the ETs that are behind it and their superiority complex. It's really disgusting. No, every single extraterrestrial has an ego construct because they need a personality interface for that actual reality they live in. Gods have egos. Can we just get real? Gods have egos, otherwise they would not solicit worship. Can we just get over this whole it's Earth humans are evil and we're the only bad guys and we have ego issues and nobody else in the universe does? Like, what the fuck? Please, can we snap out of that mind control trance and get back to reality? Seriously, if you want to get through what's coming soon, you've got to get back to what is real. You've got to. And what is real is in here. You're being messed with here, so you've got to transcend the entire mind space. You've got to transcend consciousness, and you've got to go back into your beingness. Yeah, and this is true oneness. This is what connects you to everyone and everything. All the other oneness stuff that's going on, all this new age stuff and spiritual ideology, it's all about blissing you out in a collective hive mind. And I think there was a show called V, the series V, the last one that came out, that exemplifies the bliss thing with the reptilians. And not just them, there's many other ET groups that are doing the bliss thing on humanity. There's just so many.
Well, you're just on that because I think it is a very good example of something that people can experience, which seems to be transcendent, but which you believe is totally manipulative, and that is the kind of bliss state in that show V. Would that be an example of something like the pineal gland being stimulated, overly stimulated, where people feel this bliss, but it's not really transcendent or emancipatory in any way? It's really a manipulation.
Absolutely, because our endocrine system, so you need to understand, again, it's about conquering the human race. So if you're a conqueror, how can you get the people to see what you want them to see? So what they did was they apprehended our endocrine system because it is the way we perceive reality. I mean, everything comes in through our senses, through all our peripheral nervous system, and then goes into the central nervous system, and then goes up into the base of the spine, and there's that level of perception of reality, right? Through the electrical universe, right? Then there's another perception of reality where every cell in your body is a photic receptor, right? And you experience the natural order of light. Okay, and when you do it that way, and you understand the two different levels of functionality in your body, and then there's the receptor of light through your eyes as well, and you go, okay, so I'm experiencing reality one way through my nervous system, electrical, endocrine system, pineal gland thing, yeah, because before it was the pituitary and the amygdala. So the pituitary is a patriarchal, you could say, governant gland of the endocrine system, and the amygdala was the feminine. And the two of them worked in unity. So what does the conqueror do? Puts the pineal gland right between the two of them. So separate the masculine and the feminine within the species, right? And apprehend their perception of reality. And get them to worship it, to venerate it. Yeah? So you get people to worship their entry path into a cosmic prison system. You know, because you're going to feed them cosmic candy, right? And you're going to bliss them out. And it's going to be so, it's like a sugar high. You know, bliss experienced through the pineal gland and through the chakras and through the kundalini is like a sugar hit compared to true love and joy in the natural order of life, if that's an analogy I can use. Yeah.
So one way of looking at this is that there have been a few that say that there are 22 different long-term genetic experiments being conducted by extraterrestrials on the human physiology and going back 500,000 years or more, and that what we have, this physical body that we all inhabit, is a result of this long-term genetic experimentation by many different ET groups, and the chakra system is the mechanism by which this body is manipulated so that the soul consciousness or the soul being which incarnates in this body, and as it expresses itself through this body, it has to deal with this overlay of a chakra system, which is a result of these kind of genetic pharma ET races who really want to kind of do things like bliss us out or do things to manipulate us in a certain direction.
That's what all the genetic experiments through that period of Atlantis was. Not the Lemurians were the indigenous peoples. The Atlantis is the empire. Right, it's like almost like a Star Wars type of thing, you know. The Atlanteans were the extraterrestrial empire and different factions of it that came to the Earth. Now I just want to say there's another arm to that, and that's when that planet between Mars and Jupiter blew up. The explosion ripped through the surface of Mars and just devastated that planet, and they knew it was coming and everything because the empire rulers didn't give a shit, and a lot of them came to Earth, and that ended up being the Egyptian priestly caste. Okay, so the ancient Egyptians and the gods of ancient Egypt, certain gods of ancient Egypt, not all of them, they're the ones that actually came from Mars and set up a very stringent theocratic model. So, okay, so now I'm going to break it down how I know it, and this could be completely wrong. If I'm wrong about this, I'm just sharing with you my knowings at this time of my life. So, with the intention of creating a fractal reality here on Earth, in this planet, and the solar system prior to that, and the galaxy prior to that, it's understanding how these realities were created. Because once you understand how the realities were created, then you'll understand the flow of the genetic groupings. Yeah. And I don't know how much time we got. We're good for time?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Okay, so the way we built the galaxy was, how far back do I go? I'll try and keep it brief, otherwise it'll go for over an hour, just parts of explanations. So we took an entire galactic reality and everything that galaxy has been, all the billions of star systems, some trillions, right? All of the countless planetary systems, countless life forms, mineral kingdoms, aquatic kingdoms, flora kingdoms, fauna kingdoms, bird kingdoms, you name it, incarnational, primary and paramount incarnational or principal incarnational species, right? On all these different planetary systems. So think of how big a galactic reality is and think of its whole lifespan over billions or trillions of years, right? To its current stage where it's at now. Now think of all that life force, all those experiences, down to drops falling, down to little insects, down to microorganisms, and all the way up to supernovas. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's so much that goes on. There's so much experience happening. There's so much richness going on in life through all that dynamic exchange, interaction going on. So much wisdom that is cultivated. Massive, just this one galactic reality. Now you get that being, who is the galaxy, the galactic being, and you ask it to express itself as one star system. That's a lot of compression, isn't it? Now you take that star system and you insert it into this new galactic system. Now you go to another galactic reality. Now the galaxy's still there, it's just re-expressing itself. It's like a rebirth process, but now as a very dense star system, right? So now you go to another galaxy and you ask it to do the same. Everything's ever seen, done and been. Yeah? Another star system, put it into that galaxy as well. And then another one, and then another one. And that is how the Milky Way galaxy was formed. Every star system in our galaxy is another galaxy expressing itself in a condensed form as a star in our galaxy. And that's how you created the fractal process, first stage of it, and the density of reality. The reason realities are dense here is not because we're at the bottom of the universe, it's because we're in this fractal path. It's a birthing process. So every single star out there in our galaxy then was blended into a unity into one star. That is our sun. Just think about that for a moment. Because we had to create a star system which was going to be a fractal of the galaxy. How do you do that? Well, you take all the stars and you ask them to all blend into a unity together and then express themselves as a unified light, as a unified star being. That is our sun. That's what our sun is made of. All the light of all the stars in our galaxy, which are all the light of all the galaxies in the grand cosmic arena in the universe. This is a really big deal, Michael. Mm-hmm. And then to create a planetary reality. So what was created when the solar system was first created was the 12 planetary system. And there was a grouping of 12 female expressions, 12 masculine expressions. And that's why you have the 12 tribes of Israel. Because the word Israel is a statement in the affirmative. Like, is chair, is George, is table, right? Is Ra-El. So Ra, the sun, is the Lord or the prime creator of this reality. So the 12 tribes of Israel, the original intention, the original meaning of it is getting all of the life groups out there, all the different races, all the different species, and getting them down into 12 genetic groupings. And then take those 12 tribes and incarnate them on the earth. So for me it's 12, it's not 22. But when you break it up for the masculine and the feminine of each of those, then it gets to the 24.
So this is kind of pretty critical information, and every person can verify this by going into their own kind of soul sun connection, or the soul heart connection. That this is something. You're not going to read this in a book, right?
I haven't read it anyway.
Right. You just felt this, you intuited this, and this is something.
And memories from previous lives, memories from galactic lives, and also a gathering of information from my experiences with, in other dimensions on this planet and with extraterrestrials as well. Yeah, so and interdimensionals. So
it's really experiential knowledge, and each one of us can verify everything that you've said. By going through a decompression process. You talk about the compression process, kind of limiting us, and now we have to go through a decompression or an expansion process where the sun and the earth.
It's kind of like collapsing into yourself.
Right. And the sun and the earth connection.
Or relaxing into yourself is another way of putting it.
So can you describe that? How can people watching this, how can they kind of like go through this expansion process and kind of themselves verify what you've been saying?
First of all, you've got to get past the control systems. So you've got to transcend chakras, kundalini, pineal gland for starters. Because that all belongs to, it's a three-way control system that belongs to the God matrix. And it's all designed to corral people, funnel people in that direction, into those realities. And there's lots of them. Like when I talk about this vast multi-dimensional empire of God, it is colossal. You'll experience it as though it is a universe unto itself. It is that big, and that's why you've got all these different races coming and channeling and different things being said, but the overall background theme is the same with all these groups. And it's easy to tell because they all, even if you pick up a piece of paper and it has printed words on it, the energy behind the words. Like there's an energetic signature with all of this stuff. Yeah, it's not rocket science, it's pretty simple stuff. It's like you walk into a room, it has a feeling to it. You walk into a party, no, I don't like the vibe of this party, let's go. Right? We all do it all the time. It's just utilising those skills and applying them here in this manner instead of just on superficial stuff. Yeah? Let's apply these natural skills we all have where it really counts. Yeah? And so in the basic symmetry of the body, if you put your hands out like that and you stand up straight, then you've got the x-axis and the y-axis. If you were to imprint the medicine wheel on a person, where would you put it? Well, you'd put it right here. That's why in the old days, the church used to make people go like that, like that, like that, and like that. And where does it intersect? Right here. This is your unity. And the church used to get people to put a seal over that. Right? This here, this area here is your point of unity. And this is what connects you. This is where oneness happens. My soul resides here, not in the head. Here. And consciousness resides in my head. Right? Because it's mind energy. Soul, where I'm whole, where I'm unified, where I'm, divine, that's here. And so my recommendation is just relax into yourself. Just let go of all your belief systems. Because what we need to do is we need to bring our mind and our ego constructs that have been distorted through external influences. They all happen here, right? All the external stuff happens here, right? And we need to bring it back in alignment with here, because here needs to get its instructions from here. Right? That's how it works for me. It flows from my beingness and flows up into my mind. Yeah. It was funny, somebody did some regression on me the other day, they tried. And it kind of worked a little bit, kind of. But they were saying for me to bring light down and fill my body up with this beautiful universal healing light. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. So why aren't you asking people to bring it out from within? Why does it have to always come from out there and bring it in? That's the crown chakra thing. So it's all about giving your power away to something outside of you. It's like everybody's got worthiness issues, you know? It's like healers don't believe that they have the power to heal. So they go, and you hear the talk, wasn't me, I was just a channel, you know? It was like, no, you get someone on the table and you blend your heart soul essence with that person, and together in this beautiful love of unity between the two of you and their greater being and your greater being, both of you know exactly what needs doing, and allow the energy to come out of your heart soul essence or their heart soul essence and put your hands wherever they need to go, and the appropriate healing energy will go, because you're getting it straight from the being of the person that needs it. Right? And you, who's right there with them, facilitating that beautiful intersection of your timeline and theirs, creating that beautiful vortex of spinning time together. And why not heal like that? Why do you have to? Because I used to do Reiki and all those sorts of stuff. So I just, all that's externalization. All that is using other entities, and it's all about tagging, really. All these healing modalities is all about tagging people for harvest that's coming. It's really fascinating when people have the sight, they can see all the tags going in while the hands are doing the healing. So I get sort of some benefit on one hand, because there's got to be a payoff, right? But usually it doesn't last long, and then there's all these tags in these people.
So it sounds as though there's a very simple solution then to the vastness of the problems that humanity is slowly waking up to. The whole thing of secret space programs, extraterrestrial life, secret governments manipulating us, genetic experiments, AI. You know, when people are first introduced to this, it can be easily very overwhelming.
Oh, certainly. I was.
Right. Yeah, but what you're recommending is a very simple solution, that as we get in touch with our heart soul connection and start to kind of connect with the planet, start connecting with one another and the sun,
the galaxy and the universe.
Right, that we make these connections from the heart, from that soul. When we make these connections, that we truly become incredibly powerful, and we're able to deal with all of the challenges that come our way.
Yeah, because you are now connected into the deepest building blocks of a reality, and then you see everything else as all that superficial, shallow stuff, which has no substance to it.
Right.
It's kind of like, well, you see this big building, and it's magnificent, but without strong foundations, it's nothing. It'll just crumble.
Right.
Fantastic. So we it's like the difference between a sugar hit and a hearty meal that's going to keep you sustained for a long time. It's like loving a person out of desire, shallow desires, or a genuine, authentic love, which is deep and nourishing and fulfilling and satisfying and wholesome. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. To give some analogies. And in all honesty, Michael, it's so simple and it's so clear, it's invisible to most. And it's right in front of them. It's right within them. And the distorted ego looks for complex programs, because that's where it feels safe in all these constructs. It needs all that framework around it. And so it identifies itself through all these frameworks. And then, because there's control going on, then the ego. Because I used to be like that. George feels safe. Like George won't walk out the door until he knew what he was going and who he was going to meet. And like, I'm so not that anymore. I'm a free-flowing, unfolding being. Yeah? And when I saw your email, it's just my timeline just opened up, and I just went, yeah, I'm going to go and see Michael, we're going to have this chat, and we're going to have this exchange, and just allow it to be. No preconceived ideas, I have no expectations, no agendas, just turned up and just chatting straight down the camera. And once we allow ourselves to be in that rhythm, the biorhythm of naturally unfolding. So the way I unfold in this reality is going to be different to the way you do. So it's the individual relationship with your mother planet is the key. In that love between you and Mother Earth is all the knowledge of the reason and purpose why you came here, all the knowledge of your existence here. It's that without that unity, without that love, you don't exist here. It's because of that relationship that you are in this reality. It's that simple, right? You strip everything away. That relationship is the fundamental purpose for your existence in this reality. And in that unity, in that love, is the knowledge. And so I just have surrendered control of my life to the greater me, to the part of me that made the decision to incarnate. George did not decide to incarnate. George is the incarnation, right? So I didn't make that decision, so I'm not running the show, right? So now I'm back to George, right? So I'm multidimensional, so I'm fluctuating. So I'm now back to George. So as George, I'm not running the show. I'm the aspect of me that's experiencing the incarnation, yeah? But the part of me that made the decision to incarnate is the composer, the orchestrator, and the conductor of the life that I'm having. Now, I get to make choices, or so it appears. So when it comes to the free will thing, it's like, yes, we have free will, and no, we don't. And both are applicable at the same time and valid. So I'm making a decision. I do this often in my props. Let's have a drink, right? I just decided to have a drink of water. The funny thing is, from the moment I was born, I was always going to make that decision. And I'm at peace with that. Now, that's a real head doo-doo for egos that need to be in control. But I'm at peace with that because I'm beyond the mind. I'm functioning from here. Yeah. And the knowledge that I have access to will emerge and become present when I need it.
So how do people learn more about you if they want to buy books, register for events, learn about where you're going next? So what do people do?
I've got two websites. One is called iminfinite.love and the other one is weareinfinite.love. So the iminfinite.love is more just about the original stuff with me. Weareinfinite.love is a membership website which will cost somebody about a cup of coffee a week, and they will have access to a huge archive of information. And there's all 38 podcasts of Superwoo Radio. There's a thing called Inner Intelligence where I share techniques and tools to improve your life. I do WTF George, which is a monthly sort of Q&A thing that I do on there. Interviews, webinars, there's just so much going on in there. And that way people will get a really good feel for what's going on, what I'm about, the kind of work that I do. I've got a live event coming up in Byron Bay, if anybody would like to come to that. Tickets available through the I Am Infinite website, first week of March, and that is a 4-day seminar, Transcending the God Matrix. Currently organising, and in that we transcend the chakras. We do our agreement, soul level agreement that we have with the God entity. So we transcend the God matrix. We deal with the Kundalini as well. And we learn this thing called closure. Because all those three, to do them properly, can only be done with knowing how to properly close a soul level agreement through love and gratitude.
Well, thank you, George, for being part of the show and just agreeing to be interviewed and share your time and wisdom. A lot of really good things there for people to contemplate. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Michael. I really appreciate the opportunity.